today on Divorce Court?
I'm here today because I want my husband to finally understand that our marriage is over and I want a divorce.
I love Conswella, and I feel we can work this thing out. So I want the judge to give us some type of advice that we can do to save our marriage.
I'm tired of Loren always making promise after promise after promise, telling me what I want to hear and then letting me down. I'm tired of it and I'm done.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Conswella-Davis and Loren-Davis. The two of you have been married for 14 years, but you do not want to be married anymore. Mrs. Davis, why don't you tell me why we're here today in Divorce Court?
Well, Judge, I feel like I never should have married Mr. Davis.
So you regret having done it?
Yes.
In the first place. Tell me why.
Well, early in our relationship, well, before I even got into a relationship with Mr. Davis, I had developed a relationship with God. And one of my promises was to not have premarital sex in any relationship. And so when I met Mr. Davis, I was immediately attracted to him, but I felt like God said, don't mess with that one. And so I didn't listen, or I listened for a little while.
For a while, and then...
And then I had a lonely moment and found a way to get in touch with him. And I just told God, we'll just be friends.
Yeah, bargaining with God never works out. Never works out. So eventually you two got together.
Yes.
Mr. Davis, were you aware that she, from the very jump, had reservations about you?
I did not. From the beginning, I thought we started off as good friends. And as time went on, I started to understand more about how she felt about her religion. Mm-hmm. I'm also religious. I come from a background with a pastor. My dad's a bishop, and family been in church all my life. So I understand her stance when she says certain things, but that was in time, you know. So
right.
When
I told you while we were friends that I didn't want to have sex before we got married.
But did you have sex before you got married?
Yes, with Mr. Davis.
With him?
Yes.
Do you feel like you compromised your values?
Oh, definitely.
Or do you feel like...
Well, that was part of the torture of our relationship. Because
Explain that.
Because I'm trying to please God, but I'm steady developing this relationship with Mr. Davis, and you know, he's a man that, you know, like that idea sounds good, but he's like, I have needs. So I went from having, you know, God on this pedestal to taking him off and putting Loren there. And so instead of me pleasing God, I went to pleasing Loren.
And you think that's why you got into this relationship that was all wrong for you?
Yes.
Mr. Davis, did you respect the line that she drew and didn't make any attempts to cross it?
I respected her so much, I waited a year before I had sex with Conswella. And she made that choice to have sex.
I made that choice?
You made that choice that night to have sex with me because I asked you.
Hang on.
So this is how it happened. I asked Conswella, I told her, I said, the day that we have sex, you will be my wife. And the thing about that is, I asked her mother a week prior to me telling her that, I asked her mother for her hand in marriage.
No, you didn't.
Ms. Davis, hush. Ms. Davis, go ahead.
So her mother said, okay.
No.
I already had the ring available. I already had everything that I needed to do what I needed to with Conswella.
No.
So from your standpoint, you were committed at that time.
I was already committed when I even told her that. I was already committed.
Your Honor,
and I've been committed.
Okay, Ms. Davis, you're dying to tell me that that's not true. So tell me what you think happened.
Let me hear this.
He did not ask my mom for my hand in marriage before we had sex. No. And it was a little, I don't have my dates exact, but it was less than a year.
Dates.
No, listen, it was less than a year, okay? You had not asked me to marry you. You just, like, we were going through our dating thing through the months, and different things were happening to where I was slowly giving in to the temptation of having sex with you.
Ms. Davis?
And then he showed me Bible scripture to say, this is okay.
Yes.
And that's the extent of, him saying about marriage. It was just the scripture, he said, okay, man lays with a woman, that's his wife, and, he is her husband because they laid together.
And you believe that?
By this point, Your Honor, I was gone. Okay, my mind,
Gotcha.
everything was...
I think it's a little weird how the details are so important to you and about the time thing, but and I'm gonna talk to you about that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But my understanding is that even during this courting period, you did cheat on her. Didn't you have sex with an ex?
Yeah, I did. And we was engaged.
No, we weren't.
Before we was engaged, I had something with someone. Mm-hmm. I did not tell her this until almost a month before we got married. And I told her.
No, it wasn't.
Hang on.
Okay, you want it to be 2 months? It doesn't matter.
We were not engaged at that point.
You
may have had a ring, but I didn't know
Mrs.
about
Davis,
it.
you need to stop it.
Sorry.
You need to stop. You know what? You're over here, you're talking about a relationship with God and commitment, but you're nitpicking these little dates. Well, I was engaged, but I wasn't engaged, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, that's really, really important. And it's not. You know what I'm saying? If he told you when you were engaged or before you were engaged, what difference does it make? He married you. He came clean and then he married you.
He betrayed me, though.
By having sex with this other woman. But you forgave him for that, right?
I chose to do that.
Yeah.
Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And everybody come in here talking about, Christians, that's what you are, God and all this stuff. But the whole best part of it is the forgiveness part.
Well, yeah. It is. But it's not so cool. It's not so cool when you have to keep forgiving because they keep doing stuff.
Well, we can talk about that.
No.
She's still holding on to the fact that she got married to me. God told her not to marry me, and I cheated with this girl. So she's still holding on to this while we're married.
You cheated while you were separated with somebody else in the church. Is that right? So you were saying, Mrs. Davis, and this is a very, very cogent and accurate point, that forgiving isn't so cool when you have to keep forgiving him over and over again. So was he cheating on you during the course of your marriage?
Yes.
When was the first cheat?
When we were separated the first time when I was pregnant, and we were separated for maybe a year, and then we got back together because I really wanted to work the relationship out. He did not when I was pregnant. And I even went and saw my pastor to talk to us about it. And he didn't want to work it out. He was like, I just don't want to be married anymore. But I wanted to hang on because we were going to have a child.
Okay, Mr. Davis, you don't agree with that. What was your position at that time?
When she was pregnant with our child, I went to her pastor so that we could get counseling. I told her pastor how I felt. Conswella from the jump.
That's not true.
Stop.
She still was holding on to the fact that she got married to me. God told her not to marry me, and I cheated with this girl. So she's still holding on to this while we're married.
You cheated while you were separated with somebody else in the church. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Not in
in another church.
Yeah, another church.
Okay. So, Mr. What was so wrong in the 3 months that caused the separation to begin with?
All I know is in the 3 months, I've been trying to love Conswella.
That is a lie.
Stop it, Mrs. Davis.
Conswella left me at the altar, okay? And she never came back. She never came in the marriage and was in the marriage.
That is not true.
Stop it. Mrs. Davis, have a seat.
sorry.
No, have a seat. Have a seat. What was happening in the first 3 months of the marriage that made it so bad that you had to separate?
My perspective, Conswella she doesn't want to hear anything bad. And so I start to notice that it went wrong when one day we was at a store and this guy came up to me that I knew. He said, man, how's marriage? And I said, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how it is. Because she had been distant from me from the day of our marriage to that point. So we got home and Conswella didn't come to bed. And so I was like, what's going on? I felt she was distant. I said, what's going on? She said, I don't want to be close to you. I don't want to touch you. And I told her that night, Conswella, if you do this, it's going to make us be more distant, by you sleeping on the bed.
What you're saying is she wanted to sleep separately and didn't want to have sex with you
She didn't want to
after
sleep.
marriage.
Right.
Okay.
So she wouldn't come to bed when we got mad. She didn't want to come to bed. And I say, come to bed so that we don't be separate. We should stay in bed. If we have issues, let's deal with those issues and let's move forward.
Okay. Ms. Davis, if I let you stand back up, you think you act like you got some sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's give it a try.
But that's what I
Now,
did.
what's your take on what he just told me?
Well, I feel differently. When we first got married, he expected a lot from me. I worked 40 hours. He has his own business, so he can do like whatever hours he wants. And so, but he expected me to work for my 40 hours. He wanted me to cook every night and just basically do all the household duties. And I didn't feel like that was fair because I work all day. Like maybe maybe we could split it up.
Right.
But he would get angry about me suggesting that.
Okay. I'm gonna move on to something else.
The Bible tells us to give 40, 70 times 7. That's a lot of forgiveness. I'm not asking to be forgiven that much, but that's what we do as Christians, is to forgive. So who is she to keep judging me? Who should keep not forgiving me for my things? She does things also, but I don't bring it up to her. I don't tell her about her faults.
I'm tired of getting kicked down.
Was Conswella and Loren's 14-year marriage doomed from the start? Tell us what you think at facebook.com/divorce court. Divorce Court will be right back. If you would like your case to be heard on Divorce Court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Divorce Court. Ms. Davis, you say Mr. Davis ruined you financially. Why don't you explain that to me?
Throughout our marriage, he has been he's irresponsible with his own money. I would always suggest, let me take over the finances of the household. He's completely irresponsible. He doesn't save any money, and he caused me to file bankruptcy.
How did he do that? What happened? Did he buy a whole lot of stuff? Did he have a business that went under? What happened?
Well, he has a business of his own, and so one of the things I did was to help him out was to get him a card for like a home improvement store. Mm-hmm. And he promised me that he would pay the card off.
I was.
He was paying minimum payments. That balance wasn't going anywhere. And then he got into tax trouble. Mm-hmm. And then the final straw was when he talked me into getting a home to fix up and sell, like a flip. Because I had good credit, I went ahead and got the loan, the home loan. Mm-hmm. So he promised me that he would fix this house up. He even got a $12,000 advance from the sale, us buying the home. Promised he would fix it up and sell it. He never did. The house went into foreclosure.
But Judge,
all that was on my credit.
All that was on your credit. Mr. Davis, your response.
For the house and stuff flipping, I did get the $12,000, but all that money, some of that money went to her, and some of that money went to that house. We rented the house out. I paid $700 a month while the renter was in there to stay in there. Then we moved into that house. So we lost the house because the economy went bad and everything. I lost my job and I couldn't pay the rent.
When did you lose the house? What year?
In 08 or 09.
You and a whole lot of people lost their house in 08. Yeah, that 08 was a killer.
Yeah.
You can't put that on him.
And I apologize for those things to her, but she won't.
But
she won't forgive me. And go back to forgiveness as a Christian. The Bible tells us to give 40, 70 times 7. That's a lot of forgiveness. I'm not asking to be forgiven that much, but that's what we do as Christians, is to forgive. God is faithful and just to forgive us of all unrighteousness. So who is she to keep judging me? Who should keep not forgiving me for my things? She does things also, but I don't bring it up to her. I don't tell her about her faults.
I'm tired of getting kicked down.
How is he kicking you? Just that part I don't get.
Judge, I decided to file bankruptcy because there was a garnishment getting ready to go on my income. And so I was like, no, that's it. My credit's already ruined because of the foreclosure, so I'm just gonna file for bankruptcy. So I do that, and then I start rebuilding my credit. Meanwhile, he's not doing anything with his credit. He's letting it just be a mess.
Not true.
So I start rebuilding my credit. doing everything right, getting those scores up. He lets a silly little dental bill go into collections, and they came after me. So that went on my credit. He still didn't pay it. It tripled, and then they garnished my check for that.
So the end of this marriage is, you know, the final straw was just his financial irresponsibility, or what you consider his financial irresponsibility.
And I just don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't trust him with my life. How can you love someone, give all, you're 100%, and you don't trust them?
You're not giving 100% in this marriage.
He has cheated on me more than once.
You've cheated on me once also.
This was when we were separated the last time.
Doesn't matter where we're separated. My separation.
Before the last time. I'm not making an excuse.
Oh, I get it. I think I understand exactly what's happening here. I know what's going on. Is there any way Conswella and Loren can save their marriage? Share your opinion on Twitter and Instagram at Divorce Court. Divorce Court will be right back. I don't want anybody to say anything, because this is all me, okay? Mrs. Davis, I don't think you were ever fully invested in the marriage. Marriage has a lot of bumps and lumps and trenches and falls and precipices everywhere, and you gotta go through them, and you can't hold on to them. You're what I call an error hoarder. Any wrong that he commits remains there. It's engraved in stone, and it never goes anywhere, and he collects errors and errors and errors, and after a while, all he is one huge mistake, because none of the good stuff that he does ever takes place from those errors. It's like a bucket. You got a bucket. Errors pour in, forgiveness and love and other things that do make the water go out, but you don't have any drain. All you have is a collection of errors. And I think you got it into your head that you were misled in the beginning, and that the marriage was doomed, and you laid on that, and then you had all the things that he was imperfect at as another signal that, yes, indeed, God didn't want me to marry him, and you kept it up, and you never gave the marriage a chance.
I did, Your Honor.
You never gave the marriage a chance.
This last time.
Mrs. Davis, I know you don't believe me.
No.
Did I not say this is all
sorry.
me? You got a tick going on up there. And ain't nothing wrong with having a tick. I got a few of my own, but I got a handle on. You need to go see somebody and get a handle on your tick, because you get a thought, an idea, and you go around and you collect things out of the air that support that idea, and then you don't see anything else around it. That's why you can't stay married. That's why you can't get off of anything. That's why you're so distraught all of the time. And I think you would be a much happier person if you went in somewhere and get somebody to work out that tick. That's all I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. You came here and asked for nothing. You told about financial ruin and asked me for nothing, which I thought was bizarre. But I just wanted to note that you didn't ask for anything, so I didn't have an opportunity to award you anything if he had truly caused you financial ruin. So, Mr. Davis, I understood what happened to you. God bless you. God bless you too, but get that tick taken care of. This matter is adjourned.
The judge suggested that I seek help. I don't completely agree with that, but I don't disagree. I think she didn't hear everything that needed to be heard about Mr. Davis.
Marv says she wants a divorce, and I totally understand what she's saying, and I get what she means. But this marriage is salvageable.
I feel like I'd be just fine without him, because I've been doing most of the work anyway.